In the closet, that's my stuff. The Coach bag I gave you, you better not touch. Let all my brothers bear witness to this. There is nothing worse than getting accused of fucking around when you ain't doing shit. Begging for forgiveness when you innocent is ridiculous. It really was with your boys out chilling watching the game. Things ran a little late, and instead of your girl give you the benefit of the doubt, snap the front door ready to flip out, popping off at the mouth, calling you everything but a child of God before you can get up in the house. Know how you been, know how you doing. So where the fuck you been, who the fuck you been screwing? You feel like you at a concert, she making you face the music, but the song that she's singing is ludicrous. It's every single man in the building that's been through this, but no more. Cause she's too insecure and immature to show her black ass the door. Let the doorknob hit you with a good Lord split you, cause I'm sick of ya. Popping off at the mouth cause you know I ain't gonna hit ya. So I'm gonna replace ya. In fact, I'm gonna upgrade her. Cause remember Beyonce had the song Upgrade? In fact, I'm gonna upgrade her. A pretty young thing that don't put me through the stress and the strife. So everything you own in a box to the right. And if you want to hear the rest of that poem, you can buy my CD. It looks like this. You call me a blasphemer and tell me I'm going to hell. Please, let's think this thing through. Why couldn't God teach in metaphors in the Old Testament when Jesus most assuredly taught in metaphors in the New? Is it not possible that the tree could be a metaphor for the ovaries? I have never tasted an apple that I would die for, but I have tasted a woman I'd go to war for. Furthermore, disobey my Savior for. Now forgive me, Lord, but you had to know the moment that you took that rib, that this woman would become my sole reason to live. My Bathsheba, my Delilah, my 40 days, my 40 nights, my ring of fire. Lord only knows how many poems she's inspired. Now, obviously, you have never tasted a fruit so sweet that the moment it hits your tongue, your God takes a back seat. She, my holy grail. Greater men than me have tried and failed to deny, not I give. I choose to live in her lap and die in her eyes. She is perfection in a world imperfect, so whatever punishment, it's worth it. I will taste her fruit and never look back. Let it all burn, because what good is a garden when the only fruit that I need is her? But I've always been unlucky in love. So I've oftentimes found myself inside the embrace of a woman with whom I have nothing in common, because for those few hours I can forget about my problems. It's similar to a drunken binge off of fine alcohol, but the next morning only offers hangovers and withdrawal. And it's no one's fault but mine. I can freely admit that most of my problems stem from my inability to commit, my inability to tear down my walls brick by brick, my inability to feel. See, it's hard for me not to protect myself if I can't righteously believe that she will. It's the ultimate catch-22. You see, in order to truly be in love, you have to first allow someone to love you. And to me that seems impossible, especially in an age where love seems to fade like the morning mist on a clear summer's day. When it's good, it's great. But the second we come across some hard times, she start peeking over the fence to see if the grass is truly greener on the other side. And I would rather die alone than to live a lie. And dying alone is the course I'm on. Ain't no detours or U-turns. You live, you learn. You might never find your better half if you can't make yourself whole. You see, contrary to popular belief, can't nobody complete you. That's a myth formulated by some poet's pen. The truth of the matter is you have to already be complete before the relationship even begins. And here I stand, just pieces of a man caught in between who I want to be and who I am, constantly hurting. A fortune teller once told me that animals and babies will always love you because you have a good soul, but you're not a good person. And I've spent my life proving her right. My ex-girlfriend told me I don't truly want to be happy because I'm afraid that I would lose my muse. Rather stay dejected and confused than have a woman who can massage away my blues. And I've spent my life proving her right. My mother told me that patience is not one of my family's virtues. So the second that a woman begins to egg me on, I'm gone. And I've spent my life proving her right, but just one time, I'd like to prove somebody wrong. You see, I know no one's perfect. And like anyone in this room tonight, I would love to be in love. But there's a possibility that some of us don't deserve it. And there I was, standing on the ledge, wondering if 40 stories is enough to kill me. I don't know if my woman would spit on my grave or be so overwhelmed with grief that she'd just want to jump into the coffin with me. So I'm praying, Lord, forgive me for the 40 souls I placed into a stranglehold, but I'm older now, trying to change my sentence of eternity in hell with no possibility for parole, but it's 40 stories straight down. It's 40 dead-end stories, and each one is harder to relate. Stories of women whose bodies are treated delicately, but whose hearts I've raped. It's 40 stories straight down to the concrete where I can finally get some sleep. It's 40 stories dating back to when I was 14, and I was in love with this beautiful brown beauty queen with skin that smelled like cocoa butter and a voice like nothing I was used to, and eyes so deep, so to get into the future. And I'm wanting to apologize for my wandering eyes. I'm wanting to apologize for the hard times. I'm wanting to apologize for my low tolerance for temptation. But instead, I'm 40 love stories up, and I'm just waiting. I'm just praying. 40 stories with nothing but gravity between me and reality. Perhaps you've been here before. Perhaps you've seen the world from this perspective. Perhaps you've gazed down to the unsuspecting. Perhaps you even walked down the aisle, only wishing you could retrace your steps. Perhaps you believed in love, threw caution to the wind, only to have your heart broken to begin your trek up these 40 stories again. Up here above it all, feeling untouchable, feeling unlovable. Up here with your fear being pushed as you so paranoid, you trust no one. You left your trust somewhere around the 25th floor because it was just too heavy for you to hold. And you left your ability to love unconditionally on the same place that you left your soul. So now you're just standing here with nothing but the baggage you refuse to release. The same baggage that prevents your peace. It's 40 stories with those who truly love you safely down on the ground floor. So no matter how much wealth you accumulate in this lifetime, emotionally, you will always be poor. And I'm standing here, my arms spread wide. I'm trying to find some kind of balance before I die. I'm wondering if I can fly. I'm wondering if happiness will always be one floor outside of my reach. And just as I get ready to take the leap, She's standing here 40 stories with me. She reaches out her hand and we take the leap together, falling through the insecurity, falling through the doubt, falling through past relationship hells, finally understanding that people never change for people. People only change for themselves. Falling through our insecurity, falling into love that is true, and falling safely into the hands of the Almighty God when I finally conjure up the courage to say, I do. Wow. So, since we haven't spoken, did y'all realize like I was blending like 10 poems together at a time? Like I was running a lot of stuff together. Never mind this. At this age, I have to do things to amuse myself. All right. So I came to say 3 words to you. And like what happens is like if you buy the CD, you see what I broke up. You're like, oh, he ran those 2 poems together. Like I didn't even realize that. Anyway, all right. Hey, all right, let me just tell y'all this last story and then I'm gonna get out of the way. So I'm coming down here from Brooklyn, right? Because that's where I was last night in Brooklyn. BK, Lorna knows. So I came down here from Brooklyn, right? So as I'm getting on the bus, the megabus, shout out to the megabus. It's a good look. It's a good look, the megabus is a good look. Internet, outlets. Yeah. It's a good look. Anyway, as I'm walking to the train to get on the megabus, 3 cop cars pull around me. Like in every direction. Lights on, they jump out the car. Put your hands in the air, let me see your hands. Da, 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 da. So I'm like, oh shit, okay, here's my hands. Don't move, don't move. They all come towards me, took my backpack off. They start patting me down. I'm like, excuse me, officer, how you doing? How's your day? What the fuck is going on? It was just a robbery around here, and you fit the description. I was like, I'm in Brooklyn. You looking for a black dude? I fit the description for anything that ever happened here in the history of Brooklyn. It was like, well, where you just coming from? It's coming from my house right down the street. I was like, you think I robbed somebody? My backpack literally weighs 70 pounds. Like, you think I robbed somebody and walked away with this 70-pound backpack? So then, he was like, where you going? I was like, I'm on my way to D.C. to do poetry. You do poetry? I was like, yeah. You don't look like a poet. What the fuck does a poet look like? And then when I said that, they laughed and let me go. All right, here's the last one. So I came to say 3 words to you. And since we haven't spoken over 20 years, I figure it's past due. See, for every bad thing I've ever done in my life, I always had the perfect excuse. My daddy was never there. I was never in his plans. So I acted like a boy because no one ever taught me to be a man. And all my relationships with women have been severely damaged because although I loved my mother, I still subconsciously blamed her for your absence. Now, it wasn't until after she died from cancer and I never got a call that I finally realized none of this was her fault. She did the best she could with what she had. But can't no woman turn no boy into a man. Can't no woman make him understand where his pain comes from, why his heart is so numb, why he finds it so hard to trust, so hard to love. Because if daddy don't love you, it's hard to love somebody else. Shit, if daddy don't love you, it's hard to love yourself. And it's an endless line of stories just like mine. Angry men, scorned women, confused children, all innocent, all beautiful, all trying to get back to neutral, all putting themselves through hell because of their daddy's issues. There has to be a reason. When we make love, she calls me daddy, and I love it when she does. She is looking for a father's love. I'm looking to be for her what my father never was. Problem is, since we never got what we needed, we don't know what we want. We are both lost. Because if you show me a woman who never loved her dad, I will show you a woman who finds it hard to trust a man. And if you show me a man who never loved his father, I will show you a man who has kneeled at the altar of at least 100 women with which he never should have bothered. The last time we talked, we argued. I told you to fuck off. You told me to get lost. I told you I've been lost since the day you took off. Don't you dare blame me for the pain that you gave me. It was your mother who told me you were a track star at school, but the day my mother told you she was pregnant was the fastest she ever saw your black ass move. And the irony is, I look just like you. I got a bad temper and a quick wit just like you. They even tell me I write poems just like you. I wonder if you write pieces like this too. Pieces will never read, because we got both in too many pieces to ever speak, but I made the conscious decision to be whole. A whole man with a whole soul and a whole heart, capable of receiving love in whole parts, in real time. I decided to release you of your demons and simultaneously let go of mine. We are free together. Might have taken 38 years, but better late than never. I decided to let go of this pain forever. Pain that was eating me alive, tearing apart my insides. Why don't daddy love you? What difference does it make? We've all still got this life journey to navigate. Why wasn't daddy there? Why didn't he raise me properly? No longer will these questions stop me. I just pray that my God adopts me, keeps me on my path, forgives me of my past. Finally, this North New Jersey bastard has mastered how to preach what I practice, so I'ma walk out of Oz with a smile on my face, because I finally realized I never needed the wizard in the first place. I was already smart, already had a heart, I was already brave. So no matter what you say, ain't a damn thing gonna change. I came to say 3 words to you. I forgive you. Daddy, I forgive you. Because my mother is an evangelist. And I'm convinced that she won't be content till my voice is in a pulpit. I said my mother is an evangelist, and you'll be hard-pressed to find a more fervent servant. She is fire-baptized, and I've watched men find God through her eyes. I said my mother is an evangelist. Every Sunday she leads souls to Christ. But I tell her, Ma, I'm a poet. Every night I lead souls into the light. I go where most preachers would not dare. Y'all mistaking these words for poems. These ain't poems. These are prayers. This is how I talk to God. And y'all just happen to be here. These are all my fears and aspirations, wrapped in a swaddling clothes and packed in a tomb for 3 days. And the spirit moves the writer's block out of the way and resurrects the words I need to say, and they ascend off of the page while hundreds of people bear witness, so that generations from now will still be able to appreciate it, and I can still hear my mother begging for my soul, hoping that one day I would see clearly and find my way back to the ministry. And it's hard for her to understand, because she's almost as stubborn as I am, that I ain't out here chasing a dream. I didn't choose poetry. Poetry chose me. I liberate souls every time I write a poem, and I bring down the walls of Jericho every time I perform, and I wait for them to come to me. I go where they live at. I mean, even God is a poet. You need only read the 23rd Psalm to understand that. How ridiculous must a writer be to say, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, on my pen and my pad, they comfort me. That's why I get love no matter where I go in this country. I used to contemplate suicide at least 3 times a week before poetry, and I'll tell you that to get your sympathy. I tell you that because I know at least 3 people in the audience are going through it with me. But who would have known? Who would have known that my own words could deliver me? Who would have known that you could get closer to God with every metaphor and simile? And I ain't nobody. I'm just a ghetto bastard from an unforgiving northeast city. But with this pen, and with this pad, and with this mic, I'm larger than life. I fight the good fight, so when I'm dead and gone, bury my ashes in the same tomb where they buried Lazarus. Because 100 years from now, some young poet is gonna be thumbing through the CDs in his great-grandmother's attic, and he gonna raise me from the dead. I said my mother is an evangelist. Every Sunday she leads souls to Christ, but I tell her slow and deliberate, so that she will never forget that I'm a poet. And I'm following the will of my God, and I'm far closer to him at this very moment than I would ever be in a pulpit. Thank y'all for listening, DC.